Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep! As the My Hero Academia series is coming to an end, we are reaching the point where our boy Deku is finally going to be the greatest hero in Japan, which in anime basically means the entire world.
Of course!
It's true, because All Might was the top hero of the world, and Deku will become the next symbol of peace following his footsteps. My man has a stronger version of One for All, 6 quirks on top of that, Uraraka waifu, and now the drip! Deku got the drip. Deku got the drip. However, if you guys were paying attention, quirks don't necessitate being the strongest hero, as in chapter 309, N told Deku that quirks are just tools for the heroes to use. Even in the real world, what makes someone a hero is the act of engaging in selfless feats only for the sake of others, no matter the risk, meaning that anyone can be a hero. There is a hero within all of us if you strive for that ideal. A good example would be a doctor saving someone's life. That doctor would become the patient's hero in their perspective, right?
Yes.
One study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology suggested that heroes have 12 central traits, which are being displayed to you right now. Throughout the My Hero Academia series, this message was sprinkled with every interaction that Deku has with others, embodying these traits. We witnessed many heroes who acted upon their duty due to their personal reasons or goals, either be it money, fame, or recognition. Remember Mount Lady?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, she has an OnlyFans, did you know that? And hundreds of simps.
And how would you know that? Because you're probably one of them.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
They literally waited to take her photos, and she would show her ass in public on purpose for a drop of clout. But let's be honest, I know if Mount Lady existed in real life, you guys will sign up to her OnlyFans and do the same thing. Don't deny it, you degenerates.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Anyways, when we come to the true ideals of what makes a true hero, we are given the best example being All Might, a person who even Hero Killer Stain would agree on. All Might showcased his heroic tendency in chapter 313 once again, by standing up against 2 villains even when he doesn't have the quirk or power to defend himself. There are multiple reasons for this, and that's the purpose of this video, to explain how My Hero Academia will end with Deku as the greatest and strongest hero. Now, if you want to understand the philosophical message and how Deku's journey will go, we have another video being displayed to you right now as part 1. You must watch it to understand the story completely, otherwise things won't make much sense. We have to all be on the same page in this community. That's why it's so important for you to hit the notification bell for our channel. This video is a follow-up to that explanation, where we wanted to go even further and beyond to make this analysis and theory solidified, where it will encompass everything. You guys know how powerful my quirk, balls deep prediction quirk, is, right? I get this shit right all the time, better than that. I'm just saying. I'm kidding.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Firstly, let's begin with episode 1, where Deku is quirkless, lame, bullied, and a failure. This gave Deku extreme anxiety, but after his favorite #1 hero All Might tells him that he's never gonna make it in the hero business without a quirk, this shatters his dreams and whole world. All Might from the start understood the position Deku was in, as he himself started quirkless. All Might went through the stages of trying to be a hero without a quirk, and understood the ramifications. That he himself wouldn't have been a pro hero without Nana Shimura entrusting One for All to him. Even if someone has a good heart, it doesn't mean they should always act upon their feelings without some thought behind it, as lack of power can at times cause more problems in pro hero situations. However, despite everyone looking down on Deku, later on in the story, he showcases that without a quirk, he has the instincts of a hero. This was when he encountered a villain who had trapped someone nearby, that person being Bakugo. He struggles watching his childhood friend, wait, more like bully. He struggles to see his childhood bully whom he admired so much and looked up to about to die. He witnessed no one attempting to help and felt an obligation that he needed to do something. Deku's body moves with instinct, making him jump into action whilst everyone else is waiting around not knowing what to do. Everyone tells Deku to come back, but he doesn't listen. One could argue that this isn't true selflessness, because realistically, Deku would have made the situation even worse by putting himself in danger, giving more work to the heroes. However, My Hero Academia makes sure to let the readers know that part of being a hero is having emotions and a will, as having humanity and empathy for those in need is required to truly be a hero that Stain claimed All Might to be. Deku showed an instinct that no one else possessed, where he was willing to sacrifice himself to save Bakugo rather than see him die in front of his eyes. This will and emotion reminded All Might that the truest hero are the ones who would risk everything for someone else. Standing up for others without any power clears out all their false intent. This is why he was picked by Nana Shimura in the first place, and why All Might decided to pick Deku, as One for All is a quirk that requires for you to have a strong will. You must remember that the One for All quirk has a pushing force from the past users having a similar ideological view, which is wanting to save others. This pushed All Might to reconsider his choice of Meteor. Deku had nothing. There was no hope, yet he still risked his life for Bakugo. Deku's first priority was always about saving the person, even though Bakugo bullied and berated Deku for being quirkless and a wimp, even going as far as destroying his dream of being a hero. He still tried to save him. In Deku's selfless nature, Bakugo was never truly his enemy, but someone that simply needed saving. This act of courage inspired the man himself, All Might, to jump into action. All Might sees Deku trying to save his classmate no matter what, like a true hero, and he decides to push his own limits and use his powers to save Bakugo. This philosophy and ideology is constantly questioned within My Hero Academia's story, where Deku is the centerpiece of idealism that rubs off on the current and future generations to create reform within themselves and within the wider society. For example, if we take a look at the Stain fight, the story displayed a change in Ida's philosophy, where he witnessed Deku stating that he came to save him and prioritizes his life rather than destroying Stain, the enemy. Ida later realizes that revenge for his brother isn't the true answer, as a true hero is one that uses their powers responsibly to save those in need. In season 5, we see Ida remember Deku, which allowed him to succeed in his task. Stain defines the hero as a person who makes sacrifices, the one who saves people and asks nothing in return. Feeling angry for those you love being hurt by others is totally fine and justified, right? We all get that. But using this anger in the name of justice is incorrect, as making that person suffer like you did makes the cycle continue with rage and hatred spreading even further, something that even Shigaraki is using and building to have enough power to steal One for All, causing chaos around the whole world. The characters such as Gran Torino told Deku that he has to kill Shigaraki, but the vestiges in One for All asks what decision he will make, because a hero is someone that prioritizes everything for the greater good. They should never willingly choose the idea of killing someone over the idea of wanting to save them, much like Batman, Spider-Man, and other protagonists like Naruto. Another instance where we see this drive to save and protect others is during the UA entrance exam. Everyone is gathering points by killing small fry robots, when out of the blue, a big boy comes out and everyone starts running away from it. Horikoshi uses little small events from the very beginning of My Hero Academia which ripple into larger events that Deku has to overcome these hurdles, where it will eventually foretell the story that Deku was selfless from the very beginning, willing to sacrifice his own needs and wants for others, making him a true hero. Now let's begin with explaining that Deku, he knew he was at 0 points, with 2 minutes remaining. He needs to also run away, mind you, but he sees Uraraka in trouble, about to be hit. Without hesitating again, he jumps into action, literally blasting away away the robot and saving Uraraka in the process, where Deku breaks his whole body like a pretzel stick and ends up with no points. He wasn't thinking of anything. It was his heart and body which moved out of pure instinct to save this girl from being crushed. This shows that before anything else and before personal gain, saving others and expecting nothing in return is something that is in Deku's morality. For this reason, Deku has the potential of becoming the greatest hero, but in my opinion, I'm just saying, the biggest W from this moment is that not only did my man gain credit with the readers and himself and the wider society, but my man also bagged a waifu and made her catch feelings. Don't act like this waifu over here isn't someone you would want.
FBI, open up!
Wait, what the hell? Yo, you guys are trigger happy, fam. I wasn't even going to say anything stupid. As I was saying, someone you wouldn't want to marry one day. Now, unlike previous examples of Deku sacrificing himself to save others from real external threats, this next case is something more internal. Through Deku, Horikoshi portrayed another important characteristic of a hero, that the theme of saving a person is not only bounded by physical means, rather it is also to save a person bounded by their own mental shackles and mental health. In chapter 38, during the UA Sports Festival, Deku vs Shoto has to be one of the most goated moments in Deku's heroism, often regarded as the best season as the development for all characters was top tier. Within the fight, Deku notices that Shoto refuses to use his fire quirk. This leads to him not being able to perform at 100%. Deku decides to do what he feels is right by sacrificing his victory to try and get Shoto to free himself from the chains he's putting himself in. Deku picks up quickly that the reason for Shoto not using his quirk is because of his disdain for his father, due to all the abuse he received along with the mental trauma he was put through. With the fear of what happened with Touya Todoroki, Shoto's mother hated his father and older brother's red hair and blue eyes, so much so that when she looked at it, she snapped, accidentally throwing boiling water. Fundamentally, this caused Shoto to reject any part of himself which represented his father. Endeavor broke his mother mentally, leading to the scar he has on his face. But coming back to the fight, Deku takes attack after attack and lashes out against Shoto, breaking all his fingers and both his arms in the process. Not satisfied with leaving Shoto to bear the burden of his quirk alone, he forced Shoto to push deep within him. Deku utters the words, "Your power is your own," which triggers Shoto and a memory buried deep within his subconscious resubmerging. This memory is of Shoto idolizing All Might just like Deku and wanting to become like him, which is when Shoto gets freed from his chains and uses his fire quirk for the first time. We believe Deku at the end of this series will be a symbolic message by being the new symbol of peace. Deku gives hope to others, and this is why Uraraka decided to change the meaning of his name, when initially it meant useless, but she said it's the opposite, it means I can do it. Look at the situation with Eri. Deku saved her mentally and physically too, saving her from mental health and the trauma that she went through due to Overhaul. Now right now I'm gonna pass the video on to Yusuf, as he will break down the second part of the video where we will be discussing how the final part of My Hero Academia will go down.
Okay, so now I'll be taking over the video from Adil, explaining the meanings behind these events and how the ending will shape up to be. As we mentioned, this I can do it saying the theme of plus ultra was explored in many moments, but particularly Deku was muscular, as it was another important moment highlighting the effect a person can have on others, especially to the next generation. As humans from birth, we are inspired from those who raise us, our parents, teachers, and then society as a whole, and then our perceptions and ideologies are formulated from these experiences. Unfortunately, negative connotations to positive realities also is a byproduct to this. Kota is a prime example. As a young boy who had the perception of heroes that was extremely negative, this thought process didn't just come out of thin air. As I said, experience is nearly always the case. Kota's hatred for heroes developed after the death of his parents, who both died on the job of being pro-heroes. This left our boy Kota abandoned and all alone, where he blamed his parents partly for wanting the job more than being with him. From then on, he didn't even want to be around anyone who dreamt of becoming becoming a hero. This reality is a parallel to Shigaraki's own father, whose mother, Nana Shimura, left him all alone due to her job as a hero. In effect, Shigaraki's father, just like Kota, despised all heroes to the point of even abusing his son who dreamt of becoming one himself. And you all know how that turned out. No one saved Shigaraki from this mindset, and this hatred rippled into no one saving Shigaraki from his turmoil after he accidentally killed his family in return. Whereas Deku saved Kota from this potential future reality by sharing something positive out of the pro-hero society, where he is fulfilling the gap of what the villains hate about it. In chapter 74, we see Deku showcase his bravery and conviction as he springs into action against Muscular to save and protect Kota, the son of the heroes who were murdered by Muscular himself. Deku even knew the toll on his body that the One for All quirk had on him, yet he never let this stop him. Instead, he pushed to his limits to ensure he doesn't go down without a fight, without going plus ultra. Deku's main goal throughout the fight was to keep Kota safe. When Kota witnessed Deku's triumph over Muscular, he understood what it meant to be a hero and to be called my hero. Kota at that point saw Deku as the new symbol of peace and understood the importance of what a hero could be to someone else. We saw this influence Deku had on Kota in chapter 184, where he gave Deku a letter thanking him, and he was also wearing red shoes similar to what Deku wears in his pro-hero costume. So at this point of the video, you guys should be coming to an understanding that Deku had the mentality to help not only his own generation but also the next. Now this embodies a message greater than the smile itself. He's helping create reform in society that will allow for the circumstances the villains and himself face to occur much less. Every villains of My Hero Academia parallels Deku in some ways, as Deku represents what good came out of pro-hero society, as he was saved by All Might and was given love by his parents. Deku was bullied for being who he is, but he idealized a true hero which gave him a sense of purpose and positive perception of the world rather than something misfortunate. From this we can understand the importance of inspiring the next generation that Horikoshi is trying to constantly highlight through My Hero Academia, stating that children are the most important aspect of the world and to save them, as disregarding them and causing childhood trauma is what causes it to ripple into the wider society for someone like All For One to exploit or become. In chapter 129, it was foreshadowed from the very beginning when they discussed the abuse of Eri and what would a child become if they were misunderstood and treated badly. For example, Deku saved Kota from hating heroes and he wants to be one now. Shigaraki blamed heroes for not being there for him when he was just looking for anyone, just anyone to help him out, to hold on to his humanity, and there was no one there to save him. Shigaraki was left in his despair, so now he's trying to destroy the hope in the world whilst Deku is trying to uphold it throughout the series, and by him doing this with Kota, it showcases that there was a hero for Shigaraki too. Even the likes of Overhaul wouldn't have become a villain if it wasn't for society abandoning him in his childhood, and then the Mafia adopted him. He was told to be a good boy but slowly changed. Overhaul caused Eri's suffering and manipulated her, much like how All For One did with Shigaraki. But My Hero Academia story is trying to showcase Deku's idealism and heroic stature as the greatest, as Deku himself went out of his way to save Eri, someone who suffered similar to Shigaraki, again implying the idea that Shigaraki could have also been saved in his childhood if the heroes and pro-heroes in society adopted Deku's nature of true selflessness. Deku pledged to save Eri from Overhaul but was left unable to do so. However, he never forgot this and never gave up. He stuck to his resolve, making sure he would push his limits to save her the second time, offering her a way out of the world of torture and despair with a leap of faith into a sense of hope. Even All Might always said, "I will save people with a smile." And this is precisely what Deku does, not to be daunted by the evil in which he faces. Eri recognized the amount of desire Deku had to save her, which is a vital component for any hero striving to be the new symbol of peace, as not only can you provide a sense of security once the villain has gone, but it takes a special kind of hero to offer this feeling of safety. However, coming to more recent events, right now in the My Hero Academia manga, the hero society is in ruins. The title of hero no longer carries the same weight it once did thanks to the catastrophic events of the war, and Deku is now a target of All For One, thus decided to part ways with U.A and his closest friends to keep them out of any collateral damage that they might get caught up in by being around him. And this is a very wise and noble thing to do. Deku's evolution reveals the maturity he has gone through, thinking about others and acting upon the hero instinct, leaving behind what he loves to keep them safe. On top of that, he now also got All Might as an accomplice, a partner, an assistant of a sort, and this is so huge in the grand scheme of things, where All All Might was once a teacher. He's now an ally, truly signifying the passing of the baton onto Deku, the baton of the number one hero. However, with that we come to the next stage of Deku's heroism. The reality is that you can't just be the number one hero by saving a few people. The greatest hero needs to attempt to save anyone, even someone who has gone beyond saving and past the point of redemption. During the war, we witnessed society questioning the ideals of heroes as they witnessed Deku fight with Shigaraki on camera. In fact, the news was airing it for everyone to see on what exactly was going down and how the heroes were losing. With that, the public have lost faith in the pro-hero society and are questioning what is one for all and all for one. They feel like their safety is at risk at all times, where the pro-hero system is lying to them regarding the events that had occurred. And because of this, we feel like by the end of the manga, it's fundamental for Deku to explain his story to the public after he has defeated All for One. He will be providing them context on what they just witnessed so they can start recognizing the efforts of the heroes that they went through to save society. This will end up bringing reform to the world and help make a change to the public perception of what it means to be a hero, especially since Deku upholds that value that public wants to see in one, therefore making Deku recognized as the greatest. Deku's heroism must further extend to just individuals. To be the greatest of all times, he has to change society itself. The perception, ignorance and any byproduct of society which fundamentally bring rise to villains and evil in the first place. Deku needs to address the root of the problem and not just target those who ended up on the other side, but save them. And this is exactly what Deku will be doing to protect the world from All for One, by going beyond the norms of those who need saving. This time he will attempt to save Shigaraki, someone who has been suffering and hurting due to the backlash that was left from the hero Nana Shimura's fight against All for One. This constant battle between heroes and villains doesn't solve the actual problem, instead continues to fuel the cycle of hatred. As we saw in chapter 305, Deku came to the realization and wanted to make that little boy stop crying. When Shigaraki's consciousness invaded One for All, Deku initially felt so much rage coming from Shigaraki. However, as he looked deeper, he saw Shigaraki's true feelings being embodied by his younger self crying. Deku, just like Shigaraki, wanted to be a hero as a child. Shigaraki saw Nana as an idol, whilst Deku saw All Might. Shigaraki was a bright, optimistic boy that could have been saved from his hatred, which All for One is exploiting. All for One needs Shigaraki's hatred to join it with his will, so that they can have enough power to override the will of One for All, ultimately stealing it to gain tyranny over the world. The same concept applies to Shigaraki's father. If he had been saved, just like Gota did, to exclaim an idea of what my hero could be and what a hero truly is, then he wouldn't have pushed his own son into insanity just because of his own hatred towards heroes. Deku knows what he has to do. Cloud of rage fueled by manipulation and puppeteering will need to be extinguished by Deku, and by coming to this conclusion, he gets the recognition and acknowledgement from the past users of One for All. As to test Deku's resolve regarding the upcoming battle, Nana Shimura herself asks Deku if he is ready to kill Shigaraki, her grandson, as he was deemed beyond saving. Deku's response of denying her request and suggesting to save him instead showcased that Deku has evolved from a simple hero to the truest form a hero can take. We then learned that this was a test by all of the users of One for All to see if Deku could put aside his rage and selfish desires to get revenge on Shigaraki, who caused not only so much suffering to the world, but also the ones he cares for. This leads Deku to convince all of the users of One for All to help him in his upcoming war against Shigaraki and the League. Even the second and third users come around to helping Deku after a pep talk by the first. By defeating All for One, the corruption in pro-hero society will most likely stop because All for One has deep pockets and power to exploit greed. The UA trader still needs to be exposed, for example, where they were leaking intel and manipulating things behind the scenes. Others such as the hero Tatsuyuki Tokuyome that was secretly working for the League will be destroyed along with the leader, therefore foreshadowing the reformation with Deku's victory once again. But you know what, I seriously didn't understand why they didn't just execute All for One for his crimes. Deku surely has to decide to finish this man off rather than put him in prison, because they do not know what quirk he actually has left in store. He can make another plan to escape from prison or create another victim just like Shigaraki. Therefore, the same mistake should not be repeated again. The reality is, All for One has to die for good, otherwise he will somehow plot his comeback. Now, in our opinion, we think Shigaraki will become a hero, just like Obito once again gained redemption through helping Naruto and the others. Shigaraki can do a heroic act of helping Deku by actually taking the action of killing All for One away from Deku to save the world from the future issues that stemmed from him in the first first place. So once again, Deku will attempt to save Shigaraki from the clutches of All For One. In response, Shigaraki will help Deku fight back against All For One, but ultimately will be the one to take his life, which in effect would have saved Deku from doing that hard job. All For One must die no matter the cost. However, Deku killing him will bring him despair of taking a life. Shigaraki will save Deku from this despair as his final act in life, becoming a true hero that he dreamt to be. This sacrifice will be from Deku's inspiration. Overall, the message that a symbol of peace inspires is highlighted through All Might, and let's not forget All Might was the beacon for the most important trio that we care for, Bakugo, Deku and Shoto. They all saw him as the number one and the best. They all aspired to be just like him. Deku has affected this generation and the next for the better. The world will be a better place due to the power he possesses and how responsible he is with it. Deku has even affected Bakugo, the one person no one expected to change. Deku is his rival and pushes him to go further to surpass All Might and become number one. Bakugo's character development is extended further, where he states in chapter 284 that he bullied Deku as he ignored his own weaknesses, self-projecting his own feelings upon Deku and him being useless in his perception. Bakugo even realizes that he should work with his teammates and prioritize saving rather than victory. He saved Deku against Shigaraki as a callback to the moment Deku did for him. Bakugo even recalls Deku's message and relays it back to the next generation when he stated in the provisional exams that if you all ever do is look down on people, you won't be able to recognize your own weakness. Therefore, Deku possesses the most important trait that a hero requires: to save others, not just from the external but also any internal factors in their lives, be it oppression by others or by their own minds. At the end of the day, a hero is someone who will go beyond to save us from our own despair. Everyone has problems, and eventually these problems manifest into physical cry for help. Sometimes we get clouded by our own problems and forget how much our suffering is affecting others around us. Our despair and problems become contagious, whether we like it or not. And to be honest, sometimes the people we love will be the first in line to feel the manifestation of this pain. We all need a hero in our lives to save us before it's too late. We all need a Deku. So everyone out there, go be a Deku and start being a hero to your friends, family and those around you. Call them up, tell them that you love their company and what they mean to you. Hear them out and listen to their problems. Most importantly, have fun in this short time we have together. Trust me, time can go much quicker than we think. And with that guys, that's it for this video. Make sure to smash that like button, ding that notification bell and subscribe. Be sure to follow us because we will be posting how strong Deku is and explain to you guys everything about his quirks to his strength, powers, agility, intelligence, literally everything. So stay tuned. With that guys, we'll catch you lot next time.